All right. Using the case of Wizkid versus EME as a perfect example, it was said that one of the reasons that Wizkid actually left the label is because of the unfavorable sharing formula, where he was getting 25% of what he made. So, what is the fair percentage for an artist to demand for from the record label?
So the fair percentage, well, that's I think 25% is fair.
Is it?
That's from yeah. I think
So,
25% is fair.
wait, the record
And
label is taking an entire
I'll
70.
explain. I'll explain. Let me explain.
Please
Right.
do.
So yeah, I mean 25% of royalties for the period of the
Yes.
contract.
Yes.
Yeah, I think for a record label, it's fair because we have to look at it from the side of the label. It's a business for them, right? And except the artist basically contributes to everything else. Let's say that's surprising. I understand that it sounds unfair, right? It sounds too
25% is
much,
really small.
right? But we look at it globally, it's small. 25% is small, but we look at the practice globally, right? So it depends on you take it case by case on a case by case basis.
Okay.
So when Whiskey signed for EME, like when he got on the label, he was still nobody knew him. He was still green,
Yes.
right?
Indeed.
He was still fresh. He was upcoming, right? And usually the label invests everything. They provide for everything the artist needs. With
Yeah,
regards
Banky
to
W mentioned that they were
clothing,
living with him at
yeah,
one point, feeding and everything.
absolutely. They provide everything. They even give an advance in some cases where they basically pay an
Yes,
advance
yes, I did.
on.
I did read
Yeah,
that. I did read that.
yeah. So all those basically are things the label provide. So it's an investment coming from their end, right? And as the deal progresses, because one, it's an investment that it's either win or bust. It's also a risk from their end. So
True.
they don't know if this artist is going to blow at the end of the day.
True.
But they're investing in this artist, right?
Yes,
And
indeed.
when it blows up and becomes a legend like Whiskey, now begin to that's a different ball game. That's the case of Whiskey actually, where they renegotiated the contract, right?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
So where they renegotiated the contract. That's the best thing that can happen. And if you look at that's the way the music industry is. It's business for them because they have to make sure that their overheads they're not shooting above budget. They have to make sure that there's money in their account. They have to make sure that the artist is provided for with regards to feeding. They have to make sure that they are paying staff, they are paying producers, they are paying everyone that needs to be paid.
Music
How they get
directors.
that done? Yeah, how they get that done is what we now begin to look at the particular situation. It's on a case by case basis. But in the case of Whiskey, I feel that's why I'm saying that 25% with regards to, let's say, payment from royalties. Okay, it depends. Cynthia Morgan, for instance, she was getting 50%, but she sold all her rights to the label. Whiskey is lucky in the sense that he was able to come out with his name, right? He was able to use his name. Some artists are unable to use their names because basically
They've sold the right to it.
sign that off.
They've signed that
So
off.
that's why artists should, it's not just about the money they are getting. They also have to look at other things. They have to look at it long term, right? Okay, I'm going into this deal. I'm going to be getting 25%, 30%, even 50%. But what am I giving in return, right?
Yeah.
Am I getting a right in my intellectual property, in my copyright, the songs I make? Will I be making money from my songs in the next 10, 20, 30
What about
years?
merchandise too?
Yeah, merchandise also, that's also how they make money. The label makes money. So they can decide, they negotiate it, okay, for merchandise, the artist can, so because maybe take 30% or they split 50-50 or
They don't get anything
right?
at all.
Or they don't get, and that's a bad deal when they don't get anything on merchandise. So they have to basically earn on every income stream, right? It's not just, they have to earn. Okay, and another thing they can do is, when you are negotiating the contract, you have to basically talk to the label. Is this going to be a licensing arrangement where, let's say, okay, I'm going to produce, let's say, 5 albums in the case of Whiskey, right? And he 5 albums, and he was able to that
Yes.
until we negotiate the contract, right? And because for these 5 albums, right? I'm going to license it to the label. It's not going to be an assignment where you get ownership of it. It's going to be a license where you get to benefit from it for a particular period of time. Let's say 10 years. After 10 years, I get back 100% ownership, right?
Yes.
Or I have a right to buy back my music at this particular percentage or amount after the end of a particular period of time. That's why I said it's business. So they have to begin to, it's not emotional, it's not a matter of passion alone. It's also business,
Yes.
right? Because the label has to make money and that's how the label also improves their valuation from the body of intellectual property work they have in their possession, right? From their artists. Let's say, okay, we have Wizkid's catalog for, I'm sure EME has that. Let's say, right to Wizkid's both albums, the first 2 albums.
Yes.
And imagine how much they are making on that.
On that,
even
yes.
Now that
Even
not them,
yes.
Right? And which can say, okay, let me buy you. Just like Kanye did with his former record label.
Yes.
You had to basically buy everything out, right? So they could think of that long term, but they have to also look at it. Okay, I'm a label. I have to make money. What do I do? Right? So it's about negotiation and balancing it. Okay.
You are listening to Elegbete TV Radio.